So it's my last morning here at St James's in Pyle. I've come down for sunrise. The sky is just getting very orange as I come out of the movement. And in the arc of the movement, I'm just holding onto a rock with my right hand while I'm speaking here, and I'm remembering holding on to this part of the wall. And that first section of with my eyes closed and my forehead against the cool rock, and I'm just touching the surface of the rock. And there's so much more detail when I'm touching it than was there when I arrived and I saw it. And I guess even if I looked at it, perhaps I would find more detail, but the quality of detail through the touch with my hand is more intimate than looking. And in fact, with the touch rather than the looking, and my heart is more connected. And that's back to a kind of embryological development where our hands form very, very close to our heart, which is huge, and our hands form over it. So for me, there's always a connection between my hands and my heart. And in fact, that probably was the main part of the arc of later when I'm standing, my left hand is on my heart and my right hand is holding my head, and then it's stretching above my head. And there's a connection between what's both of what I'm stretching for, what I'm connecting to through my right hand outstretched, and a receiving in my heart, but also an offering in my heart. Here I am, which is one of the lines from the hymn that arrived last week. Here I am. Feel now as of my hand on my heart, I feel a lot of gratitude for both this opportunity to be part of this little project this month, but really to myself for showing up every week. It's very early, it's Sunday morning, and I was going to record these live on a Monday, but with the tech it just seemed like too risky. It didn't work the first week, so I come a day early and just come to a church. Nobody's around, I'm by the main road, and I'm thinking how I wouldn't normally do this, come to this place. That I would go somewhere if I were to get up early, I would go somewhere with a view. I would go to the sea or the local dunes, or sort of walking in our local forest, or that I wouldn't come and just be with the church, which actually isn't completely true because there is a local church for St. Bridget that I do visit, but perhaps not in this way. I can go and be there, but I don't move with my eyes closed, and there's something about this place now that is deeply intimate because of that kind of engagement of being somewhere with my eyes closed and having an experience and staying conscious to what that experience is as it arises in the moment. So I'm going to complete this morning and just maybe speak for a couple of minutes on this theme of pilgrimage and Sant Iago, St. James, and just see what arises as I'm sitting here at the end of the month in this place. I guess what struck me as I was coming down this morning was there's been no walking, and I always associate pilgrimage with walking. There's been no walking, but there has been attending, there has been a coming to. And also, I think I associate pilgrimage with a kind of leaving of the people, of the houses, and actually, I've been coming to a place that is quite built up. And yet, being able to drop into my own inner experience amongst this. How do we do that practice? Not just even retreating in our homes. I think it was, who was it, Hafiz, I think, wrote that short little piece about the pilgrim is coming inside for 3 days. And yet, how do we go about our lives in the world with that sort of connection inside, and knowing that really everything on the outside is mirroring what's on the inside, that we don't need to leave the world to connect to this. This is always here. The only thing that's missing really is the connection. And that's something that really is just about attention. It's about noticing more, knowing that the inside is connected to the outside and looking for those connections. Something also, I'm thinking, I'm sitting outside the church, and I've been outside the church for all of the 4 weeks that I've been here. I don't think I've ever been inside this church. And I'm remembering other pilgrimages that I've made, and where we end, and it's a building, and we go inside, and we're welcomed inside, and there is something about being able to enter into that sanctuary at the end of a long journey, of being able to be welcomed in, that is deeply satisfying. And when I stay outside, actually, that inside is my heart. It's my heart of where do I come in and meet myself? Where do I come in and meet the God in me, I suppose, if I could put it like that? It's in my heart. And there is a chamber here, and I can sense that inside my ribs. I can sense the space right now. And I guess the last thing I'd like to reflect on is this St. James. So I've had various pieces through the weeks over the time of little connections to either just thoughts of him or connections to the earlier movements where I felt had an image of him or a sense of him or something like this. And something I explore a lot is the embodied relationship to saints, and specific saints that I've worked with. And in my body, my connection to him is really in my arms and across my shoulders. And it goes back to the very first week of the image of him with a boat. So it's in part now a memory that I'm associating, but of the fishermen that I know, my father, my brother, the men in my village, of working, of strength, of arms. And when I think of that in relation to St. James, I feel really resourced. You know, I can feel him around me with that strength, which gives me strength. And so there's something about this prayer to saints that allows us to access some of the qualities of a saint in order to find them in ourselves. Or when I don't feel strong, that I could think of him and feel that as a resource for myself. Even if I can't access the strength inside, I can know strength is available to me. And it allows me to just to be with whatever is here for me. And the last thing I'd like to share is because there's this connection with the fishermen, there's been a natural connection then with my own male lineage, and up to yesterday, just there was a huge process for me around healing, really deep healing and acceptance of really the pain I think caused by in my life through my father and that whole line. It wasn't just my father, it's the whole line. Just accepting what happened in my past is what happened in my past, and it's not going to change, it just is. But I don't have to carry it with me. That we can leave our past once it's healed, once it's acknowledged. I can move forward and not take it with me. And that feels, it's bringing a lot of relief. I feel in my lungs and my chest, just like a lightness. And I feel it in my voice, it's a lightness. So thank you for joining me again if you're listening.